Hello. Good. Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Hope all is well. Hope you guys are getting ready for the Christmas. Christmas and the holidays. If you celebrate Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. If you're about to celebrate Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa. If you're getting ready for the New Year's Eve. I'm actually going to be at a wedding New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I think New Year's Eve. Uh, I'll be celebrating one of my few good men out here. Few good men wedding. I'm grateful for them getting married. Yes, we need more people to get married. But I don't want to be on here for too long because I gotta start, keeping it to not too long. But in the new year, so as you see, the budget passed, and $1 billion in TIF money surplus was passed in this budget. So this budget um, never addressed anything that need to be addressed. The raises, so the raises are going to be there. They laid off oversight and all of the it's been procurement and a lot of the other services. Regardless, they didn't care because they're going to play dirty. Democratic Party don't going to play dirty. They're trying to say they're trying to win this next election coming up. Okay, they know that Chicago flips red is coming. We're going hard. So they're trying to steal as much campaign money as possible because the federal government, Donald Trump, is not sending them anything. So they got to take from the taxpayers like they've been taking. But they really got to take it, and they don't care about strong arming it right now. And it's going through TIF money and all these things. So, um, let's get down to business real quick. So, City Council approved a budget providing schools another $552 million in property taxes. So that's TIF money, on top of making sure that the school board raises property taxes $232 million. Brandon Johnson is controlling the school board, and then he has Mayor Stacey Davis Gates. That's also so because he is one of the worst people on the planet, and along with his allies, um, we're going to have to dismantle CTU. So going into this new year, I will be at City Hall, but I also will be at CTU protesting. I also will be at the school board protesting and being in the school board. Also, I am looking to work on because they're gonna have to get a whole new school board 2027 mayor election. So we have to get some people in there. Maybe not all of them, get all of them out, but the ones who are going to be with parents first, children first, not CTU first, and not going to continue to use our kids as a pawn. CPS is dealing with a billions of dollars in uh, mediation, uh, mediation, and I was at this place in Florida called the Universal Behavior Center. It's still open. I thought it was closed, but it's not. It's called the Universal Behavior Center. The Universal Behavior Center, the reason why I went there um, during, it was in 2001, because 9/11 was 2001, right? September, yeah, it had to be 2001. The place specialized in let me just make sure September 11th. I think it was 2001, but I was wrong. Yeah, September 2001. So in 2001, my mother I was at this place in Georgetown in DC called Riverside. And from Riverside is a behavior place because I was bad. I was going with the wrong crowd, acting out. And so my mother did not want me to get arrested and get caught up in the juvenile system, my mother having placed in these behavior centers. They don't have many of them anymore, but I went to a lot of them. Four Winds in Saratoga, Riverside, and Universal Behavior Center. Universal Behavior Center was in Florida. And I went to Universal Behavior Center, and they were supposed to specialize in um, kids getting molested at a young age. So in fourth grade, there was a camp here called Camp Algonquin. And I'm telling you this so I can get to the story, okay? Because this is why I know that we have to put a stop to it. So in fourth grade, I went to a camp in Wisconsin called Camp Algonquin. And my camp counselor there, her name was Mary. Mary, um, you know, inappropriate things happened with me and Mary. And I was 10 years old. And I never told my mother, never really talked about it. But when I came home from this overnight camp, I remember my mother picking me up and taking me to a restaurant. And I remember crying. And I remember crying because I missed Mary, right? I missed Mary. And I never told my mother anything. My mother just always asked, like, did anything happen to you? Did somebody touch you? Did anything happen inappropriate? But I was like, no, 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 no. But I Mary used to reach out to me and stuff like that when I came home from camp and stuff like that. And then for few months, and then after that, we moved back to New York. Moved back to New York, and I would always still, write things and say things about Mary. So one time, my mother looked at my crayon box, and there was an index card, and I had said something on the index card about Mary. So my mother asked me again, and I was like, no, 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 no. Might as well. I probably was 11. 14, when I was out of control, my mother had to put me into this place called St. Elizabeth in DC. Because in order, she was like, you're going to go to jail. You heading to jail. You're not going to jail. So I'm going to have to say you're going to kill yourself. So because I was underage, the police had to pick me up and take me to St. Elizabeth's. And St. Elizabeth, when I was there, I went and talked to my mother. Used to come see me. I refused to talk to her. And probably like a month later, I finally said, I called my mom and I said, yeah, something happened at that camp. So she was like, okay. And she was like, I'm going to get you the help. I'm going to get you the help that you need because I was over sexualized. I was always looking at all different types of things. Like I was introduced to stuff at a young age. So when I went to Riverside, I was always a very, very flirtatious person. Always. It was like, I guess, a game to me or whatever. But I was still young. So these people are adults. So at this one place that I was at, after I left there, I went to Florida. When I went to Florida, um, there was a counselor there, and I used to always flirt with this counselor. Always used to flirt with her. And she was, she was 28. I remember she was 28. I was 14, and she used to, like, get away from me, da da da, all this crazy stuff. And I mean, well, wasn't crazy, but get away from me, da da da. And then finally, when I stopped talking to her, like when I was like, let's left her alone or whatever, she comes to me and she says, I had a dream. And I said, huh? She's like, I had a dream. She was like, I had a dream that you kissed me in the galley. So the galley is a kitchen, and that is what the name of the kitchen in at the place I was at. It was a galley. It was called. It was they had the name galley. So after that, you know, uh, she pursued me. You know, flirting, all that stuff. She would take extra hours to come to like days that she would have that she could take off. She would take those days or whatever. She stayed in my room all the time. All these things. So I'll say about I think I was in there for like 6 months. After 6 months, my mother decided to send me back, bring me home or whatever. So she brought me home and I kept in touch with this lady. She kept in touch with me. At that time, we had Yahoo Messenger, we had AOL Messenger, and then, the house phone and letters. So I was really into basketball at that time. I love WNBA just started getting together. I played ball. I just knew I was going to be in the WNBA, all those type of things. So she sent me cards, sent me WNBA trading cards. I used to love trading cards. I have all types of cards I had. So she sent me cards, all this stuff. And in the letters, one of the letters she wrote, she said that she can't believe that she's in love with a child. She writes this in it's crazy. She writes this in the letter, right? And then she planned on coming to visit me. She said her family was from like Connecticut, and I live in upstate New York, so it wasn't that far. So she was like, she had planned on coming to see her brothers, and she was gonna come and see me, and we would ask you ask like, well, how are you supposed to do this, stuff like that. I was like, well, I don't know, because my mother real strict. So I'm gonna have to, figure it out. Like you can meet me at the Y and stuff like that. And I guess she was like, girl, like, what I'm saying, like meeting you at the Y, but my mother, yeah, like, where you want me to go? And I said, I only go a couple of places. I can go to the YMCA, it's down the street. I can go to the mall, but I really ain't, my mother is going to be on my heels, as she should. I'm 14. So eventually, I guess she realized that this is going to be impossible to date me or be with me because I'm a child. She broke it off, and I was in therapy. So when I went to therapy, and I told my therapist, I was like, yeah, this girl I was, I guess, talking to or whatever, she doesn't want to be with me anymore, and it kind of hurts and stuff like that. And my therapist asked me all these questions. I'm telling her like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I met her at this place I was at in Florida's behavior place. She kind of older than me, da da da. So so the ladies asked me all these questions, but I'm heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? I'm heartbroken because I'm like, damn, like I said, she couldn't even talk to me. But uh the whole time I'm 14, she's 28 years old. So eventually when I break it down to my therapist and all that stuff, uh, I left it at that. Now, mind you, I'm still seeing this lady. Now, this was 14. So I'm still seeing her until I'm up until I'm about 17. 17 years old, that's when I started getting into, I was stealing like crazy, breaking into cars, doing all types of stuff and stuff like that. My mother, she couldn't, it wasn't much stuff that she couldn't do anymore. So I ended up getting locked up. My mother told me if I ever got locked up, she was gonna leave me in there. She's like, I don't care. You understand? I'm doing everything to keep you up out of here, out of jail. But if you want to go to jail, if that's a life you want to live, if you want to go to jail, then you're gonna do it yourself. So I ended up catching a 6-5, which means 6 months probation, 6 months in jail, 5 years probation. But I did at least, I did about 4 months in jail in the juvenile part. I was in the adults, but like They had a cage for the babies. That's what you call a cage for the babies. People that's under 18. So when I was in there, the last month, my mother literally left me in there until the last month. I was musty in there, and then the mother didn't care about commissary or anything. Um, I get a visit, and I get a visit from my mom. And so my mom visits me, and I'm talking to her, and she's like, "It's a lady that's gonna come here and talk to you. She's a lawyer." And I'm like, "Okay." She was like, "Cause I went through your room, and I seen all them letters, and you're a child, you were a child, and you're still a child. That lady had no right to touch you, talk to you, have any type of conversation with you or anything like that." And I was like, "Well, I initiated." She said, "I don't care what, you're a child. You're a child." You say you can't initiate anything with an adult. So you understand? So and I was like, and she was like, and I went to your, and she was like, and I went to your therapist. And she was like, "I talked to your therapist, but my therapist, mind you, at 14, I had already told my therapist, right? Because I was heartbroken. My therapist, by law, she has to report it. So at that time, she had already reported it um, to the place, Universal Behavior Center. It's a University of Behavior Center, something like that. Already, right? So yeah, I don't know what this dude talking about. But so she had already reported it. So they never fired her. They never arrested her. What they did was they let her go. They let her leave on her own, right? Cool. Was that? And so the following week, a lawyer did come to see me. This was a lawyer that was taking the case. And I had to go through the story and stuff like that. But I was adamant by telling her, like, "Look, I was the one who initiated all this, like she came, but at the end of the day, she's 28, whatever, da, da, da. But I was turning 18. So I was 17, I'll be 18. So I had to sign the papers and all that." Saying that to say is that we went into mediation. We never went into law. We never went into court. It was a mediation. So with the mediation, it was a number that we gave and that they gave, right? And anything to make it go away, because they did not want to get in the newspapers, they did not want to highlight it, and they did not want to, and they didn't want us to file a lawsuit, because we filed a lawsuit, everybody could go and look at its public records, right? So mediation really saves you from that. You can start it with that. You can do a mediation first, do a demand, and then you can take it to court, and then they could do mediation too. But that's how it works. So saying that to say is, this lady, to this day, she's a principal at a school in Florida. Now, I'm not saying that, she's married now and has a life, whatever. So, but I'm saying that because they let her go. They let her go on her terms. They let her go. They didn't arrest her and fire her, any of those things, that she can still work around children. So she's a principal at a school. And I'm saying that to say is, we're paying out so much money, taxpayers in this city, to CPS, with the help of CTU pushing it, because they are settling a lot of mediation cases, where they are protecting some of the teachers, the staff that are doing the things that they aren't supposed, that are inappropriate. Uh, Some will get, like the other day we just settled what, a $10 million lawsuit, CPS. Some will make the news, but not all of them will make the news. But they're quick to pay. CTU and Brandon administration them are quick to pay a lot of these young paid protesters to talk about the police, right? Talk about how messed up the police are, how we need police reform and stuff like that. But they don't want to talk about the sexual reform in these schools with these teachers and the staff that are having sexual relations with with these students. They don't want to talk about any of that. They don't want to talk about how much money that we're paying because of that. We are dealing with a over sexualized group of kids. We are. From the music to the movies to Pornhub to a whole bunch of things, right? We're dealing with people who are over sexualized. You're dealing with parents who honestly will be loud when they're having sexual intercourse, knowing that their kids is in the house. We're dealing with a bunch of kids who are suicidal. We're dealing with a bunch of kids who have low self-esteem. We have a bunch of kids who will cry, rape because they don't want to get in trouble. We're dealing with a lot of sick things in this generation, and our tax dollar is paying for it. That's why we have to dismantle CTU, because CTU does not want to even give their members, because by law, we're not CTU members, right? They're not a public body. So Chicago Teachers Union doesn't have to give us access to audits, but their members, people who are actually paying dues, they are required by law to give them audits. And they're even refusing to give it to them because they don't want to talk about it. Will show a lot of things that they don't want to talk about, right? It's not going to show how much money we're paying out. I mean, just for sexual molestation cases. But it will show how much money we're paying for legal fees. It'll show all the money that we're paying to outside law firms, arbitration and mediation costs, defense costs for members. Now, mind you, I told you, Shorty, the lady that that was at University Behavior Center, they didn't. She got out scot free, clean, right? Clean, scot free when it first came to it. You know what I'm saying? Got out scot free, clean. You know how many teachers, and probably the same thing has happened with them. Some may still be working for CPS, just maybe be just at a different school. But CPS and CTU and Brandon and the progressives and all the nonprofits and stuff that's aligned with them will throw all of this, will put all this money into fighting the police and talking about brutality and talk about how they're harming black and brown men and black and brown people, but they won't talk about how they're harming black and brown and white children over here in CPS when they're having sexual relationships with them and not teaching them schoolwork. On top of that, you're paying our kids to protest and do weird things because y'all not teaching them anything because y'all in relationships with these people. Y'all in relationship with these kids, and y'all covering it up by trying to put the focus on the police only. I'm not saying that. I know some bad cops out here. I know it's some bad cops out here. But it's also the CPS whole from the janitors to the gym teachers to the teachers to the special ed to the security to the vice principals to the guidance counselors to the principals is all sick. And they can get away with it because why? The kids are under 18 years old. So unless they come out and speak out or have a parent like how my parent was, there's really nothing we can do unless we dismantle CPS and CTU. But we have to dismantle CTU. We have to dismantle CTU coming in the new year. There's no way in the world that we can allow this man just laundered 500, basically $1 billion. He laundered $1 billion into CPS and basically CTU all together because they're going to try to take this next election. And they're going to continue to do it because the mayor also has a sexual problem. Man got a baby. It's not even his baby. You see what I'm saying? He out here sharing a baby with Maurice Robinson. That's why he can't get rid of Maurice Robinson. Maurice Robinson he was a senior aide. Now he done moved him over here to intergovernmental affairs over here in the Park District because they're sharing a baby. Okay, that baby is really Brandon Johnson baby. So you don't know how much money we paying, hush money we paying for that. Because he is out here not knowing how to have sexual discipline, even though he always want to talk about his first lady. You understand? But him and his first lady is swingers. So we're dealing with a whole bunch of weird people that are in positions that they should not be in. So, as a child who was a victim of sexual abuse and saw how it was handled, I know what they're doing to them kids. They want to talk about and want to spin the whole Epstein thing and want to gear and bring out the Epstein and push out the Epstein and all that. But they don't want to talk about the CPS. They don't want to talk about the CTU files. They don't want to talk about the Brandon Johnson files. You got people that on the 5th floor that left because they were getting sexually assaulted. Okay, they left from the 5th floor because, resigned because they didn't want to deal with all of the sexual harassment that was going up on the 5th floor. Brandon Johnson, it's a cult up there. We're dealing with a sexual weird cult. Y'all let the wrong person in there. Y'all let the wrong person in there. And because he thinks he's a nationalist, and because he has this cult with these weird ass people that's around him and surrounding him and stuff like that, he's so confident that he's going to get back in office because he done stole so much so much infrastructure money. He done stole the Invest Southwest money. He's stealing TIF money. That he knows how to steal it because Daly used to steal TIF money. All them aldermen in there stealing TIF money. TIF money, that's their piggy bank. They learn from the best Daly. So just like these files that are redacted from the Epstein files because they're minors, it's going to always be like that with CPS. You're never going to be able to see it because they're minors. So they think they can continue to get away with it. So in order for you to stop it, you have to dismantle the CTU. You have to walk away from the CTU. To walk away from CTU, you have to start calling out to people at the school board, You understand? Victims that are victims that are in CPS that got who got mediation money, because a lot of people got mediation money, and had them write a thing that they can't talk about it, can't say nothing about it. We're gonna we're gonna give you this amount of money, but we're not. But you can't discuss it or speak on it. You understand? Because they have to do that like that because they have to continue to put it all on the police when they're literally trying, when they're literally using our children over here in CPS as sexual objects. And if you're not, and if you don't want to be a sexual object, then they don't care about you. They don't care about you advancing at all, and they will remove you. And the only people that's going to be able to save Chicago is Chicago, the real Chicago citizens. You're dealing with a whole bunch of people who are not from Chicago running Chicago. You got a whole bunch of people who do not love Chicago the way they need to love Chicago. You got a lot of people who are thinking with their penis and vagina instead of thinking about what's right and what's right. And what's right is making sure our children have a great education. And they don't care about that because as long as they can get some money through the budget and keep paying them to push this fake propaganda and keep talking about how racist Donald Trump is, and anybody that goes against Donald Trump is a racist as well, or like look what they're doing with what's her name? Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj had common sense. Anybody got common sense is gonna go the right way. They trying to make her feel bad. So I can make somebody feel bad about going against something that they don't. That she's Christian. She's going against all. Well, how can she say that because of her husband? You don't know the story with that. You don't know the story with that. But I do know they're having sex with these children over here, and we paying for it. I do know that the CTU some of the CTU members have sued CTU to get the audits, and they still won't get the audit. They still won't show the audits. Look what they did to Chrisette Michelle. I always say that. Chrisette Michelle, all she did was show up and sing. Now, everybody didn't want them to say nothing. Today I saw something. I gotta do that. I don't do that. I'm gonna do a video about celebrities and their their political opinions. Y'all not even out here in the trenches. Y'all not even out here in the trenches, but y'all got this is the second black person that I've seen. Ice Cube was first talking about ICE being in the neighborhoods. And then I see Killer Mike say the same thing, ICE being in the neighborhoods. The state, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden opened up the border and 22 million illegals here. Then I know in Chicago, they put 55,000 illegals here. And then they put 22,000 in our neighborhood. What are you talking about? I mean, like, what are you talking about? Yes, they need to be in the neighborhood. They need to be. I would like to see them more. I really am upset when I come outside. I don't see ICE. I want to see ICE everywhere. I want to see Border Patrol everywhere. The only person that has stepped up is Donald Trump. And the only person that spoke out against what's really going on in this city during that budget was Gardner. A white man from the city of Chicago, 45th district. He didn't even get hit with illegals like we did. And Donald Trump, who's trying to do whatever he can to get these people out of our communities because there's nobody that's going to save us because we are so misdirected and so caught up in color that we have to continue to deal with people who are coons, who are house Negroes, who don't care about us. So we need to dismantle CPS. We need to remove anybody in there that is for Brandon Johnson's agenda. We need to make sure that we dismantle CTU because Jackson Potter, Stacey Davis Gates, and anybody affiliated with them are compromised. Any teacher that is okay with how CPS is handling our children and how CTU has so much what's the word? I'll break it down. They have so much influence. They have so much influence in political roles in this city needs to be questioned. That's why you can't take care of our children. You're turning our children into liberal bums. You don't care about the black kids at all. You don't care about them at all. You want you want them to just shoot it out. You want them to exterminate it. You got the same people that stand behind you in them weird press conferences that are on the payroll. You got CPS children living in shelters, but y'all need $552 million for resources in the school. No, you need that because y'all continue to pay off people or hire attorneys when parents want to fight the city, fight the CPS because y'all are doing weird things to the children, including curriculum and stuff. Or you got teachers within the CTU union that ain't with that stuff, so they willing to sue you. So you gotta figure out, you gotta have your hush money with the help of no good Brandon Johnson. We got to rise up. We have to rise up. This right here is about the kids. I tell people that all the time. I got into this fight because the city, I had my mother messed up. I had my godfather messed up. We're not going to play them games. But then, like I said, going down there and really watching and seeing how they're hurting everybody and how they're hurting our innocent children because our children don't know. Our children know something's wrong. But because they're not being guided the right way in school, they have no one to really be like, nah, no one to be like, yeah, nah, you're right. Nah, that's not how it's supposed to be. So, like, you can't have your children out here, man. Like, they gonna keep them as sexual pawns. We are in an our kids are overstimulated, and they did it on purpose. And until we can get the regulation on some good therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists, and to really crack down this sexual abuse that we're dealing with amongst the churches, the schools, jail, in government. I mean, in private sectors, it's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. is sick. And the only way it's going to stop if we start shutting down the money. And the way we got to shut down the money, we got to boycott. We have to shut down everything. Nobody not paying nothing until we get forensic audits. Until we get forensic audit. CTU, we can't get a forensic audit. CPS, we can, though. You a public entity. CTU is not, but CPS is. Why we get, and we stand behind the CTU members who have sued for them audits. This is our tax dollar running all of these sexual trafficking, because I feel like that's what's going on in CPS. One big in CTU is sponsored by CTU, and CPS is sponsored by our tax dollars. Sex trafficking. You got them in there teaching them about all types of LGBTQ stuff, all weird stuff. I've been openly gay my whole entire life. I've never ever had to speak on my sexual orientation until I got super grown, because people would bring it to me. They'll throw it in my face like I don't know what I am. I don't. In school, never talked about it. We never talked about LGBT. You understand what I'm saying? We talked about when we got to when we got to a health class in high school. We talked about our body parts and things like that, and sexual when it comes to diseases, you understand, and things like that. But we never got into they had clubs like outside of school, like LGBTQ. If you wanted to join that, you had like stuff like that. But inside of school, nah, nah. They have places where they don't have anymore, but like places where they had like in DC, this place called Smiles, where you can go and speak to people. Go and talk to somebody if you want to talk to somebody. They had people that there's some people that was runaway, people that were in the LGBTQ got kicked out of school, got kicked out of their house and stuff like that. They had places like that outside of school. And even in school, your guidance counselor, if you go to your guidance counselor and you explain to your guidance counselor what's going on, and you may got kicked out of school, got kicked out of your home or something like that, then you're supposed to make sure they have some resources there to help you get housing or stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, nobody should be kicking their child out for because of their sexual orientation. Like that is some law. You can lay down some laws in your house, which you're not going to accept, but you should not be kicking your child out because of their sexual orientation. But there's a lot of people that do that, which is crazy to me. But we'll go to church on Sunday. So it doesn't, make sense. You know what I'm saying? The hypocrisy is crazy to me. However, thank God that my mother was not that type of way. But my mother also had rules in her house. So that's the problem right now. There's no boundaries. There's no boundaries when it comes to school. There's no boundaries when it comes to churches. There's no boundaries when it comes to jail. There's no boundaries when it comes to politics. There's no boundaries when it comes to work, the working class, families. We have no boundaries. We just out here paying our tax dollar, not seeing no results. Everybody gets a pass. And if we say something, we the enemy. I'm the enemy. I'm the enemy because I'm speaking out on stuff that doesn't make any sense. So, Father Flagrant. Father Flagrant is a couple of people have said that he has done some touch some guys, touch some boys. He's still out here. Y'all praise Father Flagrant. Father Flagrant is a pedophile, but he's white. He's in Auburn, Gresham. Y'all let him, some of the people go to his school, go to his church, and he says something like he the blackest priest out there. And y'all allow him to say that. Just like y'all let Biden tell Charlemagne, if you choosing between me or Donald Trump and you black, it's me. Is that what I'm saying? Why y'all chose him and he let 55, he let 22 million illegals over. 22 illegals over. Gave them everything. That's how that was it. That right there was to let you know. I already told you how I felt about black people as a senator. Thank you for letting me get this presidential seat to do my last wishes of trying to get rid of every Negro possible in the United States of America. Because that's how much I cannot stand y'all. And y'all sit and not say nothing. Y'all quiet as kept when it come to him. And he was a white supremacist. So yes, we're gonna have to, it's gonna take all of us. It's gonna take all of us to stop this. It's a lot of CPS teachers, a lot of veteran CPS teachers that are willing to be on board. And I appreciate y'all because it's gonna take y'all. It's gonna take the OG teachers, the ones who got into teaching because they wanted to make sure that children excel. Guidance counselors that got into being teaching because they wanted to excel. I will never forget our third grade teacher, Miss Gorwitz. Miss Gorwitz, I had a comprehension problem. And that was my third grade teacher. My third grade teacher, my mother didn't pay her to stay with me afterwards. She stayed with me for 3 semesters after school every day and let me, and every chapter book that I had to read, she made me read it until I could comprehend it. And those teach you don't get them no more. You don't get them no more. I will never forget that. I'm 39. I'll be 40 next month. But at 7 years old, I still remember Miss Gorwitz, Miss G, call her Miss G. White. She was white. She didn't care about what color was. She wanted to make sure I could comprehend. So again, it's a case by case study when it comes to racism. I know racism when I see it. I also know white people get allowed to have opinions, but I also know racism when I see racism. So it's all hands on deck in order to save these children, because our mayor is the Aries. He don't care about nobody but himself. He's a narcissist as well. This is the best looking he's ever looked in his whole entire life. He's been ugly his whole entire life. As a child growing up, as a junior high, as in high school, and then joining this cult. Okay? This is the best he's ever looked, the most he's probably ever gotten any type of action. That's why he out here cheating on his wife and he got this baby that him and Maurice Robinson share. That we probably paying out underneath the table so the mama don't say nothing. The mother don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you're fighting against somebody who has the lowest self-esteem on earth, but they built him up to be something that he could never be. And he never will be. That's why he refuses to address any of us in a press conference. That's why he people act like he's unbothered when we're talking. No, he's bothered. He's very bothered. He's very bothered by me. I've been down there for 3 years. He's had people come around to try to tell me that he's gonna settle my case. Just chill. Ain't no chill. He's gonna settle my case or he's not gonna settle my case. But now it's too far gone. You don't have the right to be in that position because you are one of the causes that's harming our children. You're harming our children. Stacey Davis Gates is harming our children. Jackson Potter is harming our children. Crystal Gardner is harming our children. All them people that stand up and speak for CTU against and speak up for CTU instead of against CTU. Speak up for Brandon against Brandon is all on the payroll, and we're paying for it. You're dealing with Brandon Johnson, Brandon Johnson, Barack Obama, Rahm Emanuel, Lyon. We got Stephen Davis, Will Davis, Allison Davis just came out. He owned a law firm. That was the first law firm that Barack Obama uh worked for. I'm gonna talk about that more. You got John Roberson, you got Maurice Robinson, and I heard that now the reason why he's gotten all buddy buddy with Lamont Robinson is because he's trying to push Lamont Robinson to be head of CHA. And that simply can't happen either. So that budget was some BS. And we are going to fight back in 2026. It's not even fight back though. This is basically just going to keep this is the time to break down everything these people have voted for, why they should not be in these seats, and combat all the lies that they're going around telling their constituents. And it's going to start. It's game on. Y'all getting up out of there. Y'all getting up out of it. Y'all think that y'all could just pass this terrible budget and think that nobody's gonna do anything or say anything. No, it don't work like that. 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 So yeah, did 53 minutes. I will be speaking more on CPS and CTU. I just wanted to let people know because a lot of people know, are you going to talk about? Yes. So starting in the new year, I'm outside. I'm outside, and honestly, I'm going to be protesting CTU, and I'm not playing with anybody anymore. I'm not playing with anybody anymore. You're not going to continue to play this game. You play these games. No, 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 no. Yeah, you're right. Chicago should not be in a deficit, and we're going to make sure when we get the real people in there, we're going to make sure we get out this deficit. You're absolutely right. You're right. Absolutely right, Natasha. So yeah, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And appreciate y'all. And all hands on deck.